Welcome to Decked Out 2, the deck building dungeon crawl
treasure hunting game built in Fortnite creative mode, replicated from the Hovercraft server. Okay, jokes aside, I have to give credit to Tango Tech, the original maker of Decked Out 2, but I have recreated the giant survival Minecraft dungeon into Fortnite creative with one-to-one floors as accurate as I could, the frozen crypts, the caves of carnage, and the black mines. Should you be foolish enough to enter, your goal is to delve into the icy depths, acquire the ancient artifact, maybe even collect some treasure, and then get out alive. Decked Out is a long-running game, and can be played over an endless amount of time, and over this time you'll enter the dungeon many times, each feeble attempt getting you deeper and deeper into the dungeon, each time hoping to acquire a more valuable artifact, and while you'll surely die countless times, occasionally you may squeak out with a artifact, and when you do, you'll be able to purchase cards you can collect and build into a ever-expanding deck. These cards are then randomly chosen and played during future dungeon runs, granting you treasure, power, and protection. So the more times you escape with a artifact, the more cards you'll be able to purchase, and with a stronger deck of cards you'll be able to delve deeper and deeper into the dungeon. Alright, let's dive into the details. Once again, I need to thank Tango Tech for the original creation of Decked Out. And honestly, now jokes aside, obviously the start to this video was a big play on how Tango introduced Decked Out 2 to the Hermitcraft server. But this isn't Hermitcraft, nor is it Minecraft to be honest. And truth be told, if you're watching this, you probably already know how to play Decked Out, or at least have seen some gameplay. So first, let's get some disclosures out of the way. The map is not the exact same. I tried my best from online maps to recreate the floors. There's only 3 floors not 4 due to Fortnite storage limits. The dungeon will most probably be updated and adjusted to be more accurate over time. Bugs are due to happen, but it would be appreciated if reported. And most importantly, this has been a 10+ month project. Coding in quotations on Fortnite without Creative 2.0 has been difficult and has given many challenges along the way, which is why cards are made using eggs. But anyways, let's get into how to play Decked Out. To begin, you'll be given 10 keys and 3 cards. Using the keys, you'll be able to enter the dungeon entrance, allowing you to pick a difficulty and maybe activating co-op mode. More on that later. After selecting your mode, you interact with the monolith, which will teleport you to the dungeon. And now it's begun. In the dungeon, you'll need to input your cards. If you don't want to use a card during this round, drop it before pressing the button to input your cards. After depositing your cards, you'll be given a compass, and the door will open. Disclosure, the reason why I'm using a remote button instead of any alternative compass ideas is because in creative mode you can't see the compass at the top of your screen while creating, and any other alternative I tried didn't work out, but more on that in another video. As you walk through the dungeon, you may use your compass to show an indicator for where your artifact is, but be aware, pressing this remote will build up Clank. So what's Clank, I hear you ask? Clank is a system inside of Decked Out which tells you how angry the dungeon is. It is indicated via the heartbeat you'll hear constantly throughout the dungeon. If the heart rate gets too fast, aka you generate too much Clank, the dungeon spirits will get mad, making the dungeon harder. The faster your heart rate, the more often Hazard will trigger. So what's Hazard, I hear you ask? Hazard is a system inside of Decked Out which will constantly trigger every so often, which will slowly close off passages throughout the dungeon, making it harder to maneuver. So what's the dungeon, I hear you? Okay, I'll stop. Anyways, as we were saying, while running the dungeon you'll find random bits of loot such as gold and bright core. These are used as a currency at the end of the dungeon run. Once you retrieve your artifact and get it out of the dungeon, you'll enter the gold shop. In here you can buy new cards assisting you in future runs, terms which can give you points, and you'll be able to convert bright core into sunbeam. Use your gold wisely as you won't be able to bring anything out of the dungeon with you other than your cards and sunbeam. So what's Sunbeam, I hear you ask? Sunbeam is an outside dungeon currency allowing you to buy items that you may bring into the dungeon. Some of these items may be item cards and others may just be items to assist you or speed up your run. There's 3 different rarity of item cards, each of which allowing you to bring different amounts of each card. Common cards can only be stacked up to 5, rare and uncommon cards can only be stacked up to 3, but don't worry, if you have more than you need, you can always trade with other players. Ethereal cards are normally marked via orange condition buttons. These are cards that can only be played once. After you use a ethereal card, you won't get it back at the end of your run. As you stomp your way throughout the dungeon, you inevitably trip up and make some noise, triggering a shrieker. Congratulations, you've generated 1 Clank. What's Clank, I hate? Wait, never mind. It should also be noted that just picking up a artifact angers the dungeon spirits greatly and generates an immediate free clang. Also in the dungeon you'll find a couple of our dungeon friends, such as our raptors, who can smell you from miles away if you're not sneaky. But even if you are stealthy, get too close and they'll spot you, and who knows what lurks deep inside the dungeon on floor 3. To gain access to lower levels of the dungeon, you'll first have to find yourself a keycard. Each level has a unique key opening the doorway to the level below it. Simply place the key in the marked location and you'll be on the staircase down. During your run, cards will be played and announced on the side of your screen. Cards can only be played once per run, and are returned to your deck after you leave the dungeon. And there are close to 40 different cards, each with different properties and effects that they display when they're played. I have even taken creative liberty in adjusting how some cards work, such as the Dungeon Lackey card. Using this will allow one other user to join your run, blocking 6 extra clank and granting healing items. So that's a sum up of the game. Once again, credits to Tango Deck, link in the description, and it would be greatly appreciated if you could subscribe to help me as a creator, and also to stay notified of any further updates of Decked Out or my other projects. In terms of the future, I would like to keep adding content to Decked Out, updating the dungeon, adding new cards and items, maybe even running challenges. A great thank you for watching, and you'll find the island code in the description along with a link to a video of how I made Decked Out when that's out. And once again, thank you all for supporting a 10-month long project, and any bugs you find would be appreciated if you could report it to the Wizard Hat Weedle Twitter account, linked down below as well. I'm also on the road to trying to get my creator code, so if you could subscribe and share the video, it would be much appreciated. Thank you for all, have a good rest of your day, and good luck to any dungeon runs you have today. Adios.